Moving on to the war on drugs. Actually, before I go to this article, I want to play you this testimony came out. This is from Michelle Leahart. She's the head of the DEA. So we're going to play this first clip, and then we're going to come back and read the story that it's based on. So here's that clip.
Is crack worse for a person than marijuana?
I believe all illegal drugs are bad.
Is methamphetamine worse for somebody's health than marijuana?
I don't think any illegal drug
is
good.
Heroin worse for someone's health than marijuana?
Again, all
I mean,
drugs,
either yes, no, or
drugs.
I don't know. I mean, if you don't know, you can look this up. You should know this as the Chief Administrator for the Drug Enforcement Agency. I'm asking you a very straightforward question. Is heroin worse for someone's health than marijuana?
All illegal drugs are bad.
Does this mean you don't know?
Heroin causes an addiction.
Okay.
That causes many problems. It's very hard to kick.
So does that mean that the health impact of heroin is worse than marijuana? Is that what you're telling me?
I think you're asking a subjective question.
No, it's objective. Just looking at the science, this is your area of expertise. I'm a layperson, but I've read some of the studies. I'm aware of it. I'm just asking you as an expert in the subject area, is heroin or someone's health in marijuana?
And I'm answering as a police officer and as a DEA agent that these drugs are illegal because they are dangerous, because they are addictive, because they do hurt a person's health.
So heroin is more addictive than marijuana? Is heroin more addictive than marijuana in your experience?
Generally, the properties of heroin, yes, it's more addictive.
Is methamphetamine more addictive than marijuana?
So all illegal drugs are bad. All illegal drugs are bad, no matter what they are. They're bad, they're bad, they're all bad the same, they're just bad. That's the only thing she could get out of her mouth in that testimony with the Democratic congressman from Colorado. But now, well, I guess the other arm of the government doesn't know what one's doing. So from Raw Story, government-sponsored study destroys DEA's classification of marijuana. A government-sponsored study published recently in the Open Neurology Journal concludes that marijuana provides much-needed relief to some chronic pain sufferers, and more clinical trials are desperately needed, utterly destroying U.S. DEA's agency's classification of the drug as having no medical uses. While numerous prior studies have shown marijuana's usefulness for a host of medical conditions, none have ever gone directly at the DEA's placement of marijuana atop the schedule, which is Schedule 1 of controlled substances. This study, sponsored by the state of California and conducted by the University of California Center for Medical Cannabis Research, does precisely that, driving a stake into the heart of America's continued war on marijuana by calling Schedule 1 placement simply not accurate and not tenable. So I guess you could say that was a DEA fail in her little classification there. And moving on, also, it says the DEA, as the DEA describes it, drugs listed in Schedule 1 have no currently accepted medical use and treatment in the United States and therefore may not be described, administered, or dispensed for medical use. Well, as you know, hemp was used for, a couple centuries in this country to making rope, paper. You can eat the seeds. You can do all kinds of things with it. Actually, Daimler made his engines to run on hemp fuel oil before he was mysteriously killed. But that's a whole other story. So you can read the rest of that on Raw Story. It was very interesting. And here's a second part of that testimony where the congressman is interviewing the DEA head, who makes $167,000 a year, by the way, to look like that and keep giving those same answers. Here he's talking about prescription drugs. So we're going to roll that clip.
Your top priority, I believe you indicated to us, is abuse of prescription drugs. Is one of the main classifications of prescription drugs painkillers that you're concerned about?
That's correct.
And are those painkillers addictive?
Yes, they are. Very addictive.
Are those painkillers more addictive than marijuana?
All illegal drugs are in Schedule 1 are addictive.
Well, again, this is a health-based question, and I know you're obviously you have a law enforcement background, but I'm sure you're also familiar, given your position, with the science of the matter. And I'm asking, again, clearly your agency has established abuse of prescription drugs as the top priority. Is that therefore an indication that prescription drugs are more addictive than marijuana?
All illegal drugs are addictive.
Okay, your agency has established abuse of prescription drugs as its top priority. You've indicated as much to us. Does that mean that abuse of prescription drugs is a greater threat to the public health than marijuana?
Because it's an emerging threat, because people are turning to prescription drugs faster than any other drug, that is why we prioritize it.
Okay, so now we know that the DEA's top priority is prescription drugs and how they're spread out. That's their top priority. That's what she said. But caught on video, Long Beach pot shop raid. And a raid on a marijuana dispensary in Long Beach was caught on video showing officers smashing surveillance cameras and stepping on a suspect. Moves that prompted accusations of the officers' excessive force. There you can see him now. They're going to put their foot right on his neck. That was on the volunteer employee Dorian Brooks. Volunteers. This guy's not even getting paid. One of the officers is seen stepping on volunteer employee Dorian Brooks' back with both feet before stepping on his neck with what Brooks described as 300 pounds of pressure. And then, of course, they see the security cameras go, oh, and then they smash it with a metal rod after they realize that they're being watched and recorded. That's the one thing the vampires don't like. They don't like being watched and recorded. And now they're going to pick up another metal rod and smash the other camera, because that's what cops are allowed to do. They're allowed to break property and do whatever they want. Look at that. There it is. It's gone. Now they could just go on and beat up people, break stuff, steal, and nothing will ever happen. You'll never see anything of that ever again. So I felt violated and disrespected, Brooks said. Well, you're a lot more than that. Sounds like you have a lawsuit on your hands. Because police said the dispensary was operating under state compliance but did not have a city permit. So they did everything right with the state. They didn't have a problem with the city permit, which, here's a Huffington Post article that I found today, and it was from the makers of oxycodone, or the unapproved makers of oxycodone. They actually have 45 days to cease manufacturing. So if you're manufacturing a pharmaceutical product, quote unquote, well, we're going to cut you some slack. You've been making this pirated product now for who knows how long, making untold billions of dollars. But now you're going to have 45 days to stop. It was probably sent to them with a letter. Okay, but if you're operating a pot dispensary within state law, but not within city law, well, we're going to come in, we're going to break your stuff, we're going to step on your neck, and we're going to treat you like a common criminal. That's the way it is in America. So get used to it out there, pot dispensaries. And so here's a list of the 5 people that were arrested in that raid. Dallas Alexander, Fernando Garcia, Mario Sanchez, Dorian Brooks, and Landon Alexander. They complied with state law, but it just wasn't good enough for the city of Long Beach. Interesting. We're going to come back with Mike Adams sitting in, and we're going to be talking about GlaxoSmithKline and Merck and the trouble that they've got into. But let's go to the Daily Quote, and this is from Secretary of State Hillary Clinton. When asked if she would like to go through the new pat-downs, she said, "Not if I could avoid it." No, who would? That's right. Nobody likes to be groped. Nobody likes to be fondled. We like our decency. We like our privacy. And we don't need the TSA definitely groping us as we're trying to go travel. It's hectic enough as it is. The airports have enough trouble as it is. And you know that story. But there's Secretary of State Hillary Clinton saying, no, please don't touch me, because nobody likes it. That's our first segment. We'll be right back after this message from ProPure, and we're going to show a little clip from Planet InfoWars, which is, if you're not a member, you need to get on Planet InfoWars, because it's the place to be. PlanetInfoWars.com, and we'll be right back after this.
Christy Hightower, site moderator on Planet InfoWars, here to let you know how patriots like you are talking this week. Have you ever thought about the greatest risk to civilization, biologically referencing? Well, user Rosso has, and in his article, The Greatest Biological Threats to Civilization, he references something like 20 different known biological threats: anthrax, cholera, Ebola, different things like that. He gives you fatality rates, symptoms, how it would affect you, and these are just the ones that we know about, much less ones that might already be developing against us. Then there's an article by In Like Flint, The Universe, Ancient Astronauts in Atlantis. He starts by telling you a story from his childhood, how his fascination with aliens from above coming down and giving us technology from ancient civilizations ago, and how the in the know now are holding this information, withholding it from us. So that being said, it leads me into our last article, Food Stamps, President Obama wants you on food stamps. This is actually a great article for many reasons. Melissa Melton is actually one of the reporters from the reporter contest. And this article was featured on the InfoWars homepage, and it's still a featured article. She talks about how skyrocketing food stamp usage during Obama's presidency, something like 100%. She gives great references. She is well-spoken and had a great response to her article. So that being said, we are looking out for great articles, well-written, well-referenced. So keep up the good work, you patriots out there. And that being said, also, some other things on Planet InfoWars, you can find the deal of the day, like In the Fed t-shirt. We had that on sale for $12.95 in the sidebar, and that's only on Planet InfoWars. Other things like groups that you can join, get active, create missions, meet people in your local area. So keep up the good work. We are paying attention, and thank you so much, patriots. Till next week.
Sick of the globalist eugenicist control freaks adding poison to your water and laughing as you get sick and die? Start purifying your water with ProPure. My friends, I've done a lot of research, and the best gravity filter out there, bar none, is ProPure, and it's available discounted at Infowars.com. Its filters are silver impregnated to prevent bacterial growth. There's no priming required. It's NSF 42 certified. Optional fluoride filters can reduce fluoride up to 95%. Easy to set up and use. Doesn't require electricity. Purify water from lakes, streams, ponds, and wells. This filter system leaves in beneficial minerals, which is key. Save money by not buying bottled water and avoid BPA that leaches from the plastic. ProPure is the best gravity-fed filter out there. It's what my family uses. Infowars.com already has the lowest price on ProPure, but if you add the promo code WATER at checkout, you get an additional 10% off at Infowars.com. You can also call to order 888-253-3139.